and you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. This is the day that the Lord has made and we will rejoice and be glad in it. It is Thursday, 15th February 2024. Yes, the day after Valentine's Day. And we are into the Lenten season. We just came out of Carnival and now we are into the Lenten season on this 15th day of February 2024. We're so happy that you're able to join us. We want to say welcome to the show this morning. Thank you for choosing the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. Thank you for always supporting us and for always being here with us. You know, we take pleasure in bringing information to you with things that relate to happenings in and around the Tobago. There's so many things we have to talk about this morning. We want to talk about the oil spill, the cleanup that is still ongoing. There's so many things happening, the roundup of Carnival, and there's so many other things. So we're so happy that you are here this morning with us. But before we go into all of that, we're going to go over to news in 90 seconds with Biana.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, 15th February 2024. The Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard determined yesterday that the Gulfstream barge was being towed by a tugboat called Solo Creed. Using satellite data and AIS tracking, its last location was pinned on February 4th as it entered Trinidad and Tobago waters before vanishing. It was en route to Guyana from Panama. The owner of the vessel was not disclosed to the public. Meanwhile, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine raised questions as to why it took so long for information to surface about the vessel. He also demanded that those responsible for the oil spill in Tobago come clean and pay for the cleanup efforts and losses incurred. Augustine raised suspicions as to whether the vessel belonged to a company attempting to purchase the Point 14 refinery from the government. Up next, fisher folk in Tobago advise against catching and selling fish from areas affected by the recent oil spill caused by an overturned boat off the coast of Cove Industrial Estate Park. The wrecked vessel Gulfstream continues to leak oil into the waters around Cove Estate. The fishermen were also advised to stop selling fish in the Lambo area by the All Tobago Fisher Folk Association for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Efforts are being made to facilitate the fish vendors at a different location. And finally, Michael Tasia wins the 2024 Road March title with his song DNA, announced by Tuco. Tasia's track played 341 times at judging points across Trinidad and Tobago. Bungie Garland's Carnival contract came second with 225 plays, and Patrice Roberts' Anxiety placed third with 48 plays. Garland gracefully acknowledged Tasia's victory, expressing gratitude to fans and congratulating Tasia on his success. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, there for our news in 90 seconds. And of course, my question also is, are we going to be compensated for the losses incurred? Because there are great losses that have been incurred by this oil spill. You know, at least we know parts of its origin, and we can probably try to hold someone accountable for this situation. We're hoping that as soon as the assessment is done, I'm very interesting to know what the assessment of the losses are. You know, I'd like to know that figure. That is interesting to know. So many losses we incurred from the fisher folk, you know, just usage of the beaches and stuff like that. So I'm just really curious to know where this goes, and I'm really hoping it can be done in the soonest possible time to see the costs incurred from the cleanup crew, losses, and all the other elements that contribute to that disaster. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head on over to our birthday shout-outs. Right, and on screen and celebrating a birthday today We have Trisha Turner. Trisha Turner is celebrating her birthday today, and we want to wish you a very happy birthday, Trisha. We pray that God blesses you and He continues to keep you, and that you enjoy everything. Celebrating this birthday, especially after Valentine's. I hope it was a double celebration for you. So happy birthday to you from all of us here at Tobago Updates Television. We want to say good morning again to all of our viewers. For those of you who are just joining us, I want to say good morning to Renrick Job. Good morning to Alicia Ramsey Phillip. Good morning to Pearl Murray Beard. Good morning to you. Raul Orr, good morning. Ruston Wood, good morning. Good morning. JSL Boris Vincent. Good morning. Robert Mackenzie viewing us there from our YouTube channel. Good morning to all our viewers far and wide. Trinidad, the Caribbean region, the United States, Canada, Africa, the continent of Africa, countries like Nigeria, Ghana. We want to say welcome to you this morning, and we say thank you so much for choosing the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. Who are we speaking with this morning? This morning we're going to have conversations with Gary Aboud. Gary Aboud is the corporate secretary of the Fishermen and Friends of the Sea. Interesting and very important topic, Fishermen and Friends of the Sea, on the topic of the oil spill that occurred in Tobago just over a week ago. Yes, we're going to have that conversation to get their perspective and to see where do we go from here. We're also going to speak with Rodil Kirky, Superintendent, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and we're talking about Carnival 2024, the overview and the synopsis of Carnival and how everything went. We want to know, all the details that went into the overall outcome of Carnival 2024. And then we round conversations with Erland Clark. Erland Clark is the event manager of Dreamwave Events, and we're talking about a quick overview of their experience this year, and also the after Carnival cooler experience. Enjoy Bagel. So that's what our conversations are going to be like this morning in studio. So we hope that you stay with us as we start chatting with our guests. And of course, leave your comments. We want to know what your carnival season was like. We want to know what you're going to do for Lent. What things are you going to implement for this Lenten period? So drop your comments in our live feed so that we can, know what you're doing, what you're about, and where you are in your life right now in terms of coming out of Carnival and heading into Lent. So drop a comment. All right. Okay, we're gonna go for a short break before we All right, we want to say condolences going out to the Jack family this morning for the loss of Mr. Jack Lancelot Jack. He passed, and so we want to say condolences to the family, and we want to send love to you from all of us here at the Tobago Updates Television. We want to say condolences to the family. All right, we're going to go for a short break before we begin conversations in studio with our guest, and we do hope that you stay with us. Before we go, of course, we invite you to share the live.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you. Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, honey.
Girl, you look normal.
Girl, you look normal. Girl, you look normal. Girl, you look normal. Oh, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Girl, you know what you're doing. Big you waist with the eye contact. Girl, what's the matter? Look back. 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 Look back how it parts. Look back how it stays. Look back to the stars. Look back.
Carnival is here. But before you hit the streets, make your home the ultimate party zone. Standard says, make it stage ready, now for now. Get dazzling deals on TVs, furniture, appliances, everything to impress your guest. 10% cash back, easy financing, plus no down payment. Now's the time to shine. Visit Standards today. Let them make your home the star of Carnival.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates. I am Adana Kambi. It's about 7:11 a.m. and we're going to begin conversations with our guest. We're talking to Mr. Gary Aboud. He is the corporate secretary of Fishermen and Friends of the Sea. And it's no secret we'll be talking about the Tobago oil spill situation. Good morning, Mr. Aboud. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you for having us on your program. Can you hear me clearly?
Quite clearly. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
Right. So there is no secret that there's an oil spill that occurred in Tobago just about last week, Wednesday, I think it was. And the concerns about the effects it will have and the impact it has not only on the marine life, but also on the livelihoods of persons in Tobago, the impact it will have on our economy and the cost incurred to clean up, to contain and to clean up this oil spill. So we know it's a devastating situation here in Tobago. You know, it affected so many different things. So we want to have a conversation with you in terms of where do you stand? What is your position? What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, I feel for the Chief Secretary because, like the rest of the national population, he and the Tobago House of Assembly have been grossly disrespected by the lack of information sharing and the timeliness of the information sharing. Certainly, you've highlighted a lot of the questions that arise, but there are too many questions and not enough answers. So we support every single thing we've heard the Chief Secretary say. But there are other positions and concerns that we have that add to it and make it a little bit worse. In the first instance, the question of the bearing of the cost of this damage. Now that we know who the culprits are, the Oil Pollution Act of Trinidad and Tobago of 1990, it's clear and it dictates a very strict liability for damage, including incarceration of the culprit. So will the law be enforced? The second thing is that there's great concern and quite a mystery as to who in fact is the consignee of this cargo. Was it coming from a destination under the radar, so to speak, from a country in which there's international sanctions, who may be selling this crude possibly even to the Trinidad and Tobago government. Because if the crude is going to Venezuela and you are the consignee and you have lost $1 million in cargo, wouldn't you raise a concern? How come Guyana was so silent and has continued to be silent? There's not been a single statement of acknowledgement and or of apology. So the questions raised this morning in the media, in particular by the Chief Secretary, questioning who the consignee is and what was the intention of the consignee, these are fair and reasonable questions. Remember, we are left in the dark. Now, I personally have no respect for anybody who puts me into a closet and keeps me ignorant in the dark. We are a liberated region. We are independent. We have been decolonized. We are no longer a slave territory. So no prime minister or minister or no one in authority has the right to keep me or the chief secretary or any single citizen in the dark, especially when our lives and livelihoods are affected. When you speak about compensation, no one is going to buy fish if there's a concern that the fish are contaminated.
Correct.
What about the cost to the Tobago tourism inventory, like the frigate birds that are eating sick and dying fish that will die? So bird watchers, wouldn't bird watchers be discouraged from coming to Tobago? Wouldn't divers who want to dive on coral reefs be concerned and say, no, let's go to the Philippines. Let's go. There's so many places that are clean that we could plan our holiday, because this news is international. So how will this compensation be considered, and will it be considered fairly? It's not just the communities and the extended communities. A person who mends a fishing net now has no work because there's no mending, because no one putting the net in the sea, because you're afraid the oil gets on your net, and once it gets on your net is dead.
And I'm happy that you're going into such detail, because I also was thinking about how do we assess the loss. It's not just about not being able to fish, not being able to swim. There's so many losses that we have to count and to consider when we're doing this assessment. And I'm so happy that you're going into all these minor details that people tend to take for granted. So I'd like for you to continue.
We got caught in the carnival season where, in the spirit of merriment and in the brotherhood and the community of celebration, we tend to forget. But now we have to go back to work and face the reality. For instance, I mean, we still don't know how many thousands or hundreds of thousands of barrels of crude is contained on this vessel. The central government have not told us what is the plan. How are they going to stop the leak? So we're still in the dark, left like servants, locked away without information. So how much crude is on the vessel? Why don't we know that yet? If the owner of the vessel and the tug that's pulling it has been identified, there are 10 questions that arise. 10. I mean, the first one is, are there victims? And will the victims be compensated? What is the flag of convenience that is being flown? And should flags of convenience be permitted anymore in the world? A flag of convenience is issued by a nation to a company. And what it gives the company is everything. And it gives the nation nothing. I'll explain. A flag of convenience allows you not to have to pay any income tax, any VAT, any duty, any stamp duty. It's as if you do not exist. So you have no revenue for the nation who issues the flag, except the one-time fee that you pay for the flag. And then that flag allows you to avoid all labor laws, no minimum wage, no trade union is allowed to represent our workers, and there's no guarantee that a percentage of the workers will come from our country or our region. There's no need to abide by any OSHA, any safety or any standard of treatment, of fair treatment of the people who work on the vessel, or any environmental law, any decommissioning. How are you going to throw away or abandon the vessel when it gets old? There's no regulation when you get a flag to say that you have to cut it up safely and remove all the parts and discharge all the waste oil. It's just a free hand to do anything. And when flags of convenience started in the world in the 1950s, it was discussed in detail at United Nations. In the 1950s, nowhere in the Caribbean had an identity. We were colonized. We were owned by the European masters in the 1950s. We only got our independence in the 60s. So when this was discussed in the 1950s at United Nations, there were only 24 countries at United Nations. Africa and Asia and the Caribbean did not exist as we know it.
And I was just about to ask whose idea it was about this flag and who benefits from it. I was literally just about to ask that when you started going into where it originated from. Because who stands to benefit? The majority of people, as I guess as the world goes, we do not benefit from a flag. If you go into those types of details and explain to us what the flag allows the person who has the flag to do.
Well, we should benefit from it. That is my argument. We should. And in 1959, when this was raised by the International Labour Organization as a part of the United Nations and discussed and tabled at the United Nations, everyone, 22 of the 24 nations agreed and said, yes, we agree. A flag of convenience. Huh? TNT has no flag of convenience. Yes, with Kujan. There's a Taiwanese company that operates longliners in Trinidad and Tobago that enjoy the flag. My assistant is here and she's always correcting me. But in any event, if the flag complies with the law of the nation whose flag is born and give some guarantee of employment of our people and pay tax like the rest of us pay tax in our country, then certainly it's like any other foreign company that say, hey, I want to come and operate in your country, but pay us and treat us as human beings. And when it was discussed at United Nations in 59, 22 of the 24 countries that sat there agreed and said, yes, it should comply with local laws and regulations. It should, we agree, but they never passed it as an addendum or an attachment to any existing convention, or never created any convention or criteria. So for 65 years, the world has been populated by tax evading foreign companies and corporations who are running fleets to and fro, taxis on the ocean, and paying nobody tax, abiding by no law, no environmental safeguard. But this issue, we suspect, is a greater and much graver issue than has been so far published, because we are also of the opinion that there's information that's being kept from us that is clandestine, that the vessel, that there are local people interest here in Trinidad and Tobago who have a vested stake in that vessel, and that vessel was bringing embargoed cargo that is not allowed in the open world because of embargoes, because Iran suffers serious embargoes because of all sorts of terrorist funding and activities, and that cargo was coming here in Trinidad and Tobago illegally, contrary to international convention. And that is why it was not fully aired from the very beginning. That is why it was better to hope that the vessel sinks and to have it orphaned without any statement, because something is wrong with that cargo. I'm getting back to my original statement because my director is telling me that I'm going off course. So what I wanted to say is that there's still a lot of questions that we have. We prepared a statement for this morning. There's still there's a statement coming out of Tobago that the beaches have been cleaned up, but our members, fishermen on the ground, are telling us that that is not exactly true, and that there's still a lot of contamination, both on reefs, in the water, and on shore, in beaches that in more remote beaches that have not been cleaned. So what our position is that we are appealing to both the THA and the central government of Trinidad to be honest about the status of the impact, to be fair and open-minded to all the stakeholders, including bed and breakfast facilities that have had cancellations of people not wanting to go to Tobago, because a lot of foreigners have heard about this in Trinidad here for Carnival. And I personally know some of them who said, well, I'm not going to Tobago, I'm going to Mayaro, I'm going to Toco, I'm going to Grand Rivera, because Tobago have an oil spill. And that is a reality that must be carefully considered. And that is part of the reason why we need to have transparency and a complete sense of urgency of how to address and clean up thoroughly, and it should be done in a transparent manner. We're also saying that there should be an independent third-party oversight as to the effectiveness of the booms. Because think about it, you have a ship that's spilling this oil, and it could be tens of thousands of barrels that still have to spill. The boom only has a 2 or 3 foot hang curtain. Once that boom fills, or if there's any wave or any slight wind or rough water, it will push the oil over the boom or under the boom. So 2 things arise. One is there should be double layers of skimmers, double layers of booms for the oil that escapes the first entrapment. And why? If Trinidad and Tobago, in Trinidad, according to the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan, which was activated in 2014, 10 years ago, there are over 10 skimmers. Now, a skimmer is like if you've ever seen people in the water pedaling like a bicycle, and the bicycle has at the back of it something that is spinning, and every time you pedal the bicycle, it spins and goes into the water and scoops the water,
yes.
So it gets propulsion. So that is how a skimmer works, except that in this instance, it's an automated unit on the water with a tank, and it's constantly skimming and pushing the contaminated substance into the holding tank. Now, Trinidad and Tobago owns over 10 of these. BP owns. Is it you? Petrotrin owns. BHP owns. And we have a national oil spill plan.
So we need to do some more collaboration with this cleanup effort, is what we're saying.
Well,
but I think...
Well, it's only a matter of time before the boom becomes full. And our understanding from our communication with people on the ground is that when the tide is low, the vessel presses on the ground and leans sideways, the discharge of the oil accelerates. So we still don't know, either from the local entity who was illegally importing this oil, or from the Guyanese entity who equally illegal. But why would Guyana, think about it, why would Guyana be importing crude? They don't have a refinery. What are they processing? Why would they want to import crude here?
There are so many unanswered questions that we still need to get answers to, and I hope that we are able to, I hope we are provided with these answers in all fairness to, especially the people of Tobago. I believe that the THA, the Chief Secretary, and the agencies here in Tobago have been doing a wonderful job. We saw communities coming out, even if they couldn't do anything, just for the support to ensure that our areas are clean. The central government, the Office of the Prime Minister, everybody coming forward and lending the assistance, I mean, within their capability. facilities and their capacity. Ongoing collaboration, of course, will continue to happen as we clean up. The progress have been made. I've seen the difference. I mean, of course, you have to do your assessments in terms of testing to see how contaminated the areas still are. Just this morning in the news, we heard that no fish should be sold or bought within the next 3 to 4 weeks. We don't know if that period will extend after an assessment is done. So we're still here waiting out to see what is happening. And of course, we want to get those questions answered, especially in terms of compensation for our people, because I know from my own knowledge, and I'm not an expert in any way. I'm sure there's millions of losses that we have incurred as a result of that for every single industry in Tobago has felt the brunt of this. So we want to get those answers upcoming soon. So I hope that we can get some resolve where that is concerned. And I'm happy to see that, you're not seeing that thick oil on the seaside as much as what it just occurred. So I know that they are working, and I want to say commendation to the chief sector, the THA, to the central government for stepping in, also for the OPM Office of the Prime Minister and all the other agencies who have their hand in this to assist us, because this is a crisis. We can get the answers after, but let's deal with the crisis first, which is the approach they took, which I am very appreciative of. I would join with you in saying more collaboration so that we could get more machinery or whatever advice we need to get this oil out of our waters, to ensure that there are no more contaminants and to ensure that we are safe once again, to enjoy the facilities and also to enjoy the industries again. And in closing, I see you are very excited to say something, but in closing.
In closing, I'd like to say 4 things. The first thing is that in 2013, Petrotrin spilled 7,000 barrels and would charge $20 million TT in damages. This is substantially more than 7,000 barrels. How much is this company going to be charged? Secondly, this is the age of technology where you can get on your phone and talk to anybody as we are, visually, real time. So why still don't we know how many lives were lost? Is it that the lives are not important? Thirdly, it's 120 years that we have been extracting oil and gas. Imagine it took 5 days to even get the booms in Tobago, that we are so completely unprepared. Fourthly, we still don't have any national radar system. Shouldn't we have a radar system? Anything could be coming and going into and out of our water as it is. The amount of Venezuelans that come and go daily is testimony that everything else is coming and going. And finally, this crisis, and this disaster, and this economic pain that we are still yet to feel, because we don't know how many more 100,000 barrels are still yet to spill. This underscores the critical need for a collaborative CARICOM network, because several countries in the region continue to develop oil and gas, and whether or not a country has oil and gas, it will be affected and impacted by disasters such as these, especially as Guyana continues to explore, and any spill that occurs in Guyana or the east coast of Trinidad ultimately goes up the Caribbean and affects the Caribbean Sea. So we think that it's time that CARICOM do something to organize themselves into a cohesive unit to share information, technology, and resources. In the same way that Trinidad's oil spill contingency plan mandates the big players to share resources, CARICOM should get together to share its resources to respond to disasters like these. Thank you so much for bearing with me.
Thank you, Mr. Aboud. We've been speaking with Gary Aboud, Corporate Secretary of the Fishermen and Friends of the Sea. Thank you so much for coming in this morning and giving us your take on the situation and for enlightening us, giving us some more information as it relates to the oil spill. We really do hope that this matter can be done and over with in the soonest possible time. And of course, the loss of income and the loss, to Tobagonians, I just wish that we could recoup the expenses that went into this, even the central government coming in there, we need to recoup the expenses and we need to get back to life as usual, here on the island of Tobago. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go for a short break before we continue with conversations with our guests. And of course, before we go, we want to invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be...
Everyone, it's your boy Harry here from Authentic Builders General Hardware, located right here in Storby, Local Road, Tobago. That's correct, right here in Tobago. And we are offering you guys the best prices on all hardware material. And if you would like to get your free quotation done, all you have to do is WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will give you guys the best prices on all hardware material. That is a guarantee, as we are matching or beating any quotations.
Inner Health, number 13B, Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Carnival is here. But before you hit the streets, make your home the ultimate party zone. Standard says, make it stage ready, now for now. Get dazzling deals on TVs, furniture, appliances, everything to impress your guest. 10% cash back, easy financing, plus no down payment. Now's the time to shine. Visit Standards today. Let them make your home the star of Carnival.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kumbi, and we continue conversation in studio with our guest this morning. We're speaking with Mr. Erland Clark, and he is the event manager of Dream Wave Events. We're going to do a roundup of Carnival 2024, and we're also going to talk about a cooler experience that is upcoming. Good morning, and welcome to the morning show.
Hi, pleasant good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we want to talk about Carnival 2024, National Carnival, Trinidad and Tobago Carnival in Tobago 2024. What is your take on it?
Well, overall, the Tobago aspect of it, well, we know we had some issues in regards to the staging of the carnival and so on, because there was miscommunication in regards to the National Carnival and the October Carnival. Well, I take part in the October festivities, but what I did is stayed on island this year, really went around and looked at the kiddies and looked at the mud and also looked at the Juve, the Juve and the Tuesday offerings and so on. I know there are difficulties in regards to persons kind of sounding the alarm of the quality of costumes, what persons are giving for the National Carnival and so on. But what needs to happen is really a conversation with the THA, the powers that be and the stakeholders who take part in not just the National Carnival, but also the October Carnival, and see how best we could build out a product for the two spaces that works well for all who are involved. You
say the two spaces that work well for all involved, but you've been hearing the noises saying that why does Tobago need to have two carnivals? Now, my assessment or interpretation of this is that in February, we have the National Carnival, which is Carnival of Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
So Tobago is not exempt from the Carnival in February. That is Trinidad and Tobago Carnival.
Yes, it is.
Tobago has afforded to put their own initiative on the table, their own Tobago Carnival.
Correct.
Right? So this is a Tobago Central Carnival. carnival that represents Tobago,
correct,
separate from the national carnival of Trinidad and Tobago. It does not mean that they are no longer a part of the Trinidad and Tobago carnival. Can you address the situation? Because there's been so many noises in the space that people are saying, why does Tobago need to have? Now, I am not a carnival person, but I understand, how it goes. I understand it's a national carnival. So can we address that a little so people can have a better understanding of why there are two carnivals in Tobago at this point in time?
Well, first and foremost, the National Carnival, as you quite rightfully said, it's a Trinidad and Tobago product. So we can't take ourselves away from that particular product in regards to the National Carnival. So because once it's declared and proclaimed by the president, it's over Trinidad and Tobago because we are Twin Island state. However, the product in October is really yes, it's a Tobago carnival, but what people are missing, it's a tourism product. It's a tourism-driven product, and it's a product that was implemented similar to like the Jazz Festival and the Blue Food Festival and so on, and the Heritage, that to bring tourists to our island and so on. So really and truly, again, what we need to do as a unit in the Tobago space is really have a conversation with all the parties involved, all stakeholders, and see how best we could build, because the problem is not really having the two carnival, the problem is really the spend. That is really the problem. Persons are saying why we spending on two carnivals, but really and truly we cannot take ourselves away from the National Carnival, but our spend for the National Carnival has to be different from the spend for the Tobago product, and we have to kind of see where we can, because there are persons who do not partake in the October product, who in the Tobago space, so we have to see where we can fit them in, and also where we can even sit and transition them into the October, see how it's beneficial to the individuals, and show them that here this where you can be able to not just win a prize for National Carnival, but however use it as a business that you're going to be able to bring revenue into your mass camp or whatever that you're doing for within that carnival space.
And as you rightfully said, I didn't even think about it in that regard. It's a tourism product.
Yes.
It's an actual separate product from, as I said, the National Carnival. And you likened it onto things like Blue Food and Jazz, which I never even really thought about.
Correct.
I mean, I know it's a product, but I didn't really put it on the same wavelength as those. And it's a very brilliant concept, actually, because now we see where Tobago Carnival is going.
Yes, it is.
Right? It's almost dying. And what we're trying to do is to bring it back alive. And I've seen the efforts to try to bring it. And so the October Carnival now gives us that opportunity, as you're talking about, for businesses.
Correct.
Because at that time, that's the only carnival that we're focusing on right now.
That's quite true. And when the idea was touted at first, there are a lot of persons who actually wasn't happy with that October product because they were indicated, well, you can invest in the February product, but really realistically, persons buy into the Trinidad product, and let me don't say Trinidad product, but more so the Port of Spain product, because the Tobago Carnival in National Carnival actually mirrors a lot of products in Trinidad for Carnival nationally, because they're like the Sandy Grande, the Labrie product and so on. So their costumes and styling and events and so on kind of mirrors a smaller space. Unlike, but everybody's kind of taken aback and in awe of the Port of Spain product. So persons are like, well, we want this carnival to be like looking like Port of Spain, but in reality, we cannot have the February product looking like that. So we have to kind of find a way, carve a way in regards to if we're doing kiddies, traditional, mud. There was a good initiative by David Marad from Barcode, where the pan on a Tuesday on the road, we can look into that because we have quite a few pan bands and internationally proclaimed that well-organized pan bands in the Tobago space who are winning, who are number one. We have number one arrangers, so we can do that on a Tuesday in regards to getting that involved in the National Carnival, and we just concentrate on the parade of the bands for the October product, where we'll know that there are a lot of carnival chasers, because that's a huge business now. The producers of mass in Trinidad actually travels throughout the world. There's no sleeping month or no day off in carnival. Throughout the world selling that product. So we know that it can work in Tobago. It will work in Tobago. And one of the things I want to also address with that October Carnival, because I heard the administration indicating that they will cut spending in regards to marketing and so on for the October product. And I'm asking them, please don't do that. Actually increase spending, because what happens is that once you decrease spending in that October product, because Carnival is really about a hype. And once the hype is not there, they just move on to the next best thing. And we actually, in October, we are competing with persons like Guyana Carnival, we are competing with Uber Sucre Cruise, we are competing with Miami Carnival. That's the reality of it. And if we really want to get the foreigners in, we always have to be on top tier in regards to when we putting out our product and what product we are putting out for.
That's right. Your marketing is very important. And as you said that day, I heard some noises around this carnival. Where is Tobago Carnival? Why aren't we marketing Tobago Carnival at the national carnival level? But I suppose those are things that we need to revisit and ensure that, we could push this product, because as you said, it is a tourism product. We all tend to benefit. Not everybody is like me. I don't participate in carnival at all. But there are financial gains that people can benefit from for any tourism events at all. There are financial benefits. So, we want to thank you for that roundup for carnival. What is coming up next?
Okay, well, as we know, National Carnival just finished and everybody is heading to Tobago. Yesterday, the airport was a mess, coming with persons coming over. We have events that's happening in the Tobago space. As we know, Tobago now has a cool down zone of the after carnival product in Trinidad and Port of Spain. So what we're doing, managing an event for Dreamwave events. They're doing a cooler experience on Saturday from 4 p.m. to midnight at Mount Irving Glen Eagles Drive. It's a simple $175 for the ticket. It's a cooler event. And this particular event was built out in such a way that it's really about when we used to go to events and uninterrupted music. Not somebody talking and talking and talking and talking. It's just nice music playing. So it will be covering genres from soca, calypso, Afrobeats, reggae, dancehall, R&B, the new products, the old products, and so on. So we really build a product that covers all that persons will be able to enjoy.
Right. And how do they get tickets for this event?
Well, tickets are sold online at Island E-Tickets. You can also get tickets at Jade Monkey. You can also get tickets at Cafe Download Buku. You could get tickets at Tobago Concierge Services at Tobago Town Center Mall in Buku. You could get tickets also at Anchor's Bar and Grill, or you can call 347-6609.
Right. So we want to say thank you so much for coming this morning and giving, your overview of Carnival 2024, what you're looking forward to in October, and also about this upcoming event. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Yes.
We've been talking to Mr. Erland Clark. He is the events manager of Dreamwave Events, talking about his synopsis of Carnival 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue conversations. We have our next guest in studio soon, but before we go, of course, we invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
JK Tech, we bring technology to your doorstep. From cutting-edge laptops to reliable printers, we've got it all. Nationwide delivery and a new website for easy online ordering. JK Tech is your one-stop shop for your electronics and computer needs. Carrying top brands such as Acer, Samsung, HP, and much more. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at JKTechTT or visit jktechtt.com. Quality tech is just a click away. JK Tech. Evaluate your shopping experience, your tech, your way. Call or WhatsApp 383-2651. Shop smart, shop JK Tech.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. It's 7:49 a.m. So if you're getting to work for 8 a.m., you have about 11 minutes to get there. Remember to get there safely. Be safe on the nation's roads. This morning we're speaking with Mr. Rodil Kirk, Superintendent of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And of course, we're going to do an overview of Carnival 2024. It's always a pleasure to have you in studio with us. Superintendent Kirk, good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers.
Right, I'm thinking 2024 Carnival, how was it? I have my own assessment, but I want to hear the official word. How was it for the TTPS in Tobago?
Well, from a police perspective, the Carnival in Tobago went well. We would label it as one of the safest carnivals in the last 5-6 years, I would say. The thing about it, although we had a bit of confusion in terms of where the Carnival celebrations were to be kept, I mean, we still, everything went well, because why I said that is that we got the information that Crown Point and Roxborough were the 2 main hubs, but not to take our eyes off Scarborough, and we did that. We had resources on the ground. We recognized that nothing much didn't happen, and everything went well. We are thankful for that.
Right. Yeah, because I was looking, on the social media, I'm looking to see what is happening in and around. And I'm around the Scarborough area, and it was quite quiet especially on Monday, it was very quiet in Scarborough for some time. Yes,
and you have to be mindful too that the cruise ship was in port, and also the oil spill cleanup was taking place. So that in itself limit the area that people could traverse. So, again, people stayed away.
And you went to the other 2 locations, Crown Point and Roxborough, especially.
2 other locations. What we recognize is that within the Crown Point area on Monday morning, roughly about 3,000 masqueraders taking the streets. That concluded around 10 a.m. and the people dispersed quietly, again with no incident. So I want to also thank the Tobago public for, being well behaved during the Carnival period. Roxborough itself, Jubilee morning had 1 music truck and roughly about 600 to 700 persons, behind the music truck as well. They didn't have no bands per se. Again, everyone was well behaved.
So congratulations to the Tobago public for listening to the call of the TTPS to collaborate with them and to cooperate and to ensure that there's a safe carnival period. I'm really happy to hear this report. It's not usual that you get a report where there was no incidents. Everything happened, smoothly. I want to thank the TTPS, of course, for being in position in the event something should happen. I had to travel through Scarborough on Tuesday afternoon, and I was greeted by very friendly. I know sometimes when things are hectic, people tend to get frustrated, but they were so friendly and so kind in terms of how they direct the traffic, because, people still have to get through some areas. So I want to say thank you to the TTPS and congratulations to the Tobago public for adhering to all the instructions and allowing the police officers to do what they came out on the streets to do. In terms of any roundup, anything happening within the week leading up to Carnival or anything like that?
Well, what we had a few incidents unrelated to Carnival. We had about 3 reports of robberies. Those are engaging our attention. We had a bomb threat report, and that is also engaging our attention. But let me take this opportunity to also thank the dedicated officers who who came out, who answered the call to come out for duty. What we also have is that persons who called off their vacation leave and they did answer that call, not forgetting the members of the Defense Force, TTR and the Coast Guard, who came out and were always there to support us. So, you know, I want to also extend my sincerest gratitude to these stakeholders for, you know, standing by the police in terms of having the resources on the ground to treat with any eventualities. Thankfully, we didn't have any. Again, what I also noticed is that we had some trivial road traffic accidents. Time and time again, I come on this program and I urge people to drive carefully, obey the traffic laws. But however, you know, we still had probably about 3 or 4 trivial road traffic accidents, no injuries reported. So, you know, that was also good.
And that is something we will continue to talk about on this program, road safety. You know, sometimes, I mean, we know you're in a hurry, you want to get there on time, probably before time. You're probably running late, and that's why you're speeding on the nation's roads. But we want you to consider the other drivers, the persons in the other vehicles as well, the persons that you are transporting as well. Observe the traffic laws. When you're approaching a traffic light and the light is on orange, it does not mean to speed up. It means to approach with caution. Prepare to stop, because after orange, of course, it's going to be that red light. So many times I'm driving on the nation's roads and I am at the traffic light and I know that my life, because you know, we know what the sensors are going to go off.
Yes.
So you can assess when your light is going to turn green. And my light is about to turn green. And so I'm getting ready to enter the box to turn. And I can see cars coming from the opposite direction flying across, you know, trying to get the tail end of their green light, which has already turned red. And these are things we need to take into consideration. We need to be concerned about other persons as well, because the same way this person is trying to catch the tail end of their green light, I am prepared to move when my light turns green.
Yeah, and not only in respect of the traffic lights, some people or drivers don't observe road signs and road markings. And I could give you an example. That Providence Road and Dunvegan Road, I actually had to, you know, talk with the stakeholders in terms of, you know, revitalizing those road markings, because people come from inside whim and they think that they have a right of way. They don't need to stop at that junction, and they come straight across. So that is one example. People need to pay attention that there's a big stop sign on the ground and there's a stop sign telling you stop and then proceed. But people, we have to be mindful of the road signs and the traffic markings or traffic signs on the road as well.
We really need to pay attention to those things, because they can, you know, they can help us and intercept any potential accident that might take place. So we need to pay attention. And you rightfully said, some of these markings need to be revamped. They need to be done over, because they are very, very faint and you can hardly see them. So we need to look into that as well. In closing, is there anything else that you want to share, that you want to bring, you want to encourage our listening audience?
No, I just want Tobagoanians to continue being who they are. I know that, you know, everybody wanted to come out and enjoy themselves. We were happy that we were able to provide that level of safety and security to our visitors, our citizens, and those who come from time to time. So, you know, I want them to continue to be that way, cooperate with the police, work with us, and we will keep you in that safe environment.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Rodil Kirk. Always a pleasure to have you here with us on the Morning Show on Tobago Updates, bringing, you know, insights and updates as it relates to things happening around Tobago where the TTPS is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we bring the closure to the Morning Show on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kambi. We do not end our programming here. We continue with Tobago Notes and then on to GMT with Candice Jackson. So we ask you to stay with us. And as you stay with us, of course, we invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Let's get transformed together. a fitness program started under the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection to get its employees moving their bodies and eating healthier meals. After work during the week, staff participate in aerobics and dance sessions right on the division's compound. There are also hikes to various locations on the weekends or public holidays, and monthly weigh-in sessions.
I have been here from the beginning, but I mainly come on Tuesday. So I did the weigh-in and everything as well, and I'm enjoying the aerobic. It's excellent, right? So good workout. Her style is different, right? So you're getting the workout and I'm feeling it, and she's pushing you to your limit. So I like the challenge. I want to let people know that after the workout, you feel so excellent. It's a way of losing weight. It's a way of controlling if you have any chronic disease, high blood pressure, sugar. It will help to keep them under control. So I encourage people to join.
I think it's a great initiative. Since that one of the leading causes of death in Trinidad and Tobago is obesity. So this initiative would really help out a lot of people.
I think it's a really great initiative because I believe since we push for health and healthy eating and healthy living, we should walk the walk, right? So we can't be the ones telling everybody we want to eat healthy, be healthier, and then we are not doing what we say that we telling people that they should do.
Even though we are office workers, we too face a lot of demands, a lot of stress levels during the day. So as I would have shared earlier, it's a nice way to unwind and de-stress before you get home to your various responsibilities. I would encourage the Tobago House of Assembly to continue initiatives such as this, because working in healthcare, our mental and emotional health is something that is vital, and the balance is critical.
We have a contest that goes along with it. Everybody took their way in to start. You check your blood pressure to start. You check your numbers. And we want to measure the progress as we go along. We are professionals. This is the Division of Health. So we have dietitians who are monitoring the group, and they will do the checks every now and then to see, so you know how you're progressing, if you're losing any weight. Of course, weight loss is 20% exercise. Weight loss is 80% diet. So this is just the motivator.
This fitness and nutrition initiative is open to all employees of the Tobago House of Assembly. For more information about this program, visit the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection's Facebook page.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With a perfect conversation to complement your morning routine, I am Candice Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. And the Tobago Coast Guard determined yesterday that the Gulf Stream barge was being towed by a tugboat called the Solo Creed. Using satellite data and AIS tracking, its last location was pinged on February 4th as it entered Trinidad and Tobago's waters before vanishing. It was en route to Guyana from Panama. The owner of the vessel was not disclosed to the public. Meanwhile, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine raised questions as to why it took so long for the information to surface about the vessel. He also demanded that those responsible for the oil spill in Tobago to come clean and pay for the cleanup efforts and losses incurred. Augustine raised suspicions as to whether the vessel belonged to a company attempting to purchase the Point Fortin refinery from the government. Up next, the fisherfolk in Tobago are advised against catching and selling fish from areas affected by the recent oil spill caused by an overturned boat off the coast of Cove Eco-Industrial Park. The wrecked vessel Gulfstream continues to leak oil into the waters around Cove Estate. The fishermen were also advised to stop selling fish in the Lambo area by the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Efforts are being made to facilitate the fish vendors at a different location. And finally, Michael Tager wins the 2024 Road March title with a song DNA, announced by Tuco. Tager's track played 341 times at judging points across Trinidad and Tobago. Bunchy Garland's Carnival contract came second with 225 plays, and Patrice Roberts' Anxiety placed third with 48 plays. Garland gracefully acknowledged Tager's victory, expressing gratitude to fans and congratulating Tager on his success. And that was the news in 90 seconds. And viewers, yes, we have a whole lot of stuff, whole lot of things coming to light right now, especially when it comes to this vessel. And what we do know that it was being towed. And we saw the evidence of it being towed because the rope is still attached with the loop to suggest that it was either being moored somewhere or it was towed. But we have the confirmation it was towed. And of course, that vessel is the Solo Creed. That this information was released by the Coast Guard. We do not yet have any confirmation on the ownership of the vessel, but we do know it was on its way from Panama to Guyana, and its last stop perhaps would have been in Aruba for a fuel stop, because it did, from the indications, it seems as though it stopped there for just about 4 hours, and there might have been a fuel stop on its way over to Guyana, and that Solo Creed vessel is lost. There's a crew that's unaccounted for. Whether or not their lives are lost, we do not know. Maybe they were able to get away. Maybe the vessel encountered some problems and they were able to get into a lifeboat and get to safety. We don't know or anything that at all at this point in time. But there are people looking, and we suspect that we would have some more information pretty soon as to what's going on with that. But it does leave a whole lot of questions, and we can hopefully, it's interesting though that the Coast Guard was able to publish all that information, but not publish the ownership, and the Coast Guard would have access to the database and the systems that would be able to identify who owns specific vessels. So I found that very interesting that that information was not included. But maybe I know some other digging is going on, and hopefully we could find confirmation on that information pretty soon. But in the meantime, the fishing community is affected and continues to be affected, particularly in the Lambo area. And I'm being joined right now by the president of the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association, Mr. Curtis Douglas. So good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning and welcome, and good morning to all the viewers and listeners, and good morning Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm here on the greatest little island in the world. So it's a pleasure to be here this morning.
So you were a part of some of those meetings yesterday. Of course, the ADFA has been was playing a very intrinsic role in this whole cleanup efforts and so on, lending a hand, lending your knowledge, especially where the currents and all of those things are concerned in that specific area outside of Cove, because we know it's not an easy place.
Yes, well, ADFA is really, the brain of the fishing industry and responsible for, communication. And we were asked by us, the Chief Secretary and also TEMA, so that in this time of emergency to work together to help see how best we could preserve our marine life and also our tourism properties in Tobago. So we ADFA, the team is here to really assist and to guide some of the contractors that are here. So we have like Kaizen, they were the first initiate contract that had made the initiation when we started the boom to separate the oil from reaching the port so that it would not damage the intake of the Cabo Star by the instructions of TEMA and the Chief Secretary. But I must say before I even go further, I must commend, the Chief Secretary for being on the ground 24/7. Twice a day, it have briefing, plans, and to execute the goals that is set out by the team. So I must commend them. But I must also say, since last week, Thursday, when we started, we started from Wednesday. Since last week, Wednesday, we have started. We have learned a lot because it is an experience that that we never had in the terms of dealing with carbon or oil, because as it stands presently, we still do not know what the substance like fuel is coming out or discarded and damage on our mangrove is. We cannot state directly what it is, right? So I mean, it's tedious, and I must say, I admire how Tobagonians are coming out themselves and volunteering. So we all are not only having an experience, are also being trained accordingly. So from this, we could now be able to prepare ourselves for future in the event, although we don't want anything in the future, but also to prepare in the event that something of this magnitude should happen again, so that we will be able to, our response time should be a bit more, faster and alert. But I must say, kudos to Kaizen for being on it. I mean, sometimes I'm sure the Chief Secretary do not go in his bed, I'm sure about that, until after 12 every night, because sometimes when we do finish briefing after the day's activities, it's late, after 11, 12, and then we have to go in the morning. So this morning itself, we have Mr. Kwashi, part of ADFA, is leading a team of boats with ADFA to move some of the barriers, the booms, to ensure that this tourist ship would be able to dock and dock comfortable. So it's really an ongoing effort, and it is a continuous 24 hours effort.
And there's a whole lot of things that are changing daily, and a lot of things that are coming up as well.
A lot of things as you plan, things change, but what I am seeing is the resilience of the entire team. The entire team that is on the shores of Tobago is adapting as we go by, in terms of current, the wind temperature, the wind speed, how the current changes. Sometimes you go in and out, up and across, it changes. So as it changes, we adapt to some of the changes, because sometimes some of the readings you get, when you go, there's a different action. You will have to now adjust the situation to ensure that, we achieve our goals. But so far, I must say, there is a great improvement in the terms of cleanup and preventive measures that are put in place, so that the oil would not spread throughout Tobago. So I must say, yes, it's an ongoing process, and as we go along, we adapt and change to ensure that we preserve also wildlife and marine life, and also the life of our citizens on the island of Tobago.
And then when it comes to the fishermen that are involved, what is their spirit like at this point in time?
Well, I must say, first thing I did, what was some of the measures that was taken before I reached the spirit? We would have told a couple of men to pull up the boat. I don't want them fishing because I didn't know what was the substance material, and damage. And I want to say to some of the fishermen, for those who pull up, I ain't give you no green light to push down as yet. 2, for those who are going away, who's not fishing in that area, if all see any oil substance, let's report it, and don't take any more don't take any more photos. I have enough photos from outside. Let's report the coordinates, and I will be able to work with it. And do not drive through it, because this substance, when it go through even nylon, the nylon and all is sticking to the boat when it is pulled. Yes. So don't go through it. Don't go through it, because I already have engines that impeller pull and it damage, so them have to pull up. So do not fish around that area. I'm advising them again, do not fish around that area, because I do not know the content and the substance of the material, and I do not want any human life to be hampered by that substance. So I'm sending out a bulletin and instructions to the fisher folk. Do not fish in those areas until further notice. We all must work together to see how best we can build back our marine life and Tobago together.
And of course, you also said yesterday to not even sell fish in Lambo at this point in time.
right? Lambo is one of the most effective area, right, on the island. And when I drove past and I do my visit and inspection, I realized Lambo is real saturated with this this material. So I'm advising, because I'm seeing fish is selling, the vendors are selling fish, and I do not want anything called cross-contamination. So I don't want any cross-contamination, even though the fish may not be caught at Lambo, but it is being sold at Lambo. And cross-contamination is a very serious thing. So working in the food industry, the food and beverage industry for over 8 years, I understand what is cross-contamination and what it is. And being a fisherman for over 35 years, I understand how cross-contamination can affect the normal bystander or the normal person who is just come to purchase a fish. So we are asking the fisher folks in Lambo, you know, all of them, Alvin, all of those guys on the stretch, for the meantime, just be real. The chief secretary would have given his word that wherever you all want to be relocated, they will assist you all to be relocated temporarily. It is not permanent. So I don't want people to believe that, I just want to create a police to believe they come to a runway, and no, that is not the case, right? We are in an emergency situation whereby we're trying to safeguard you, your children, and the population. So to avoid any form of infection to anyone, we're just asking kindly to just say your location, whether you want to go to Scarborough, you want to go to the food hub, because the food hub is there, so to use that as an advantage temporarily until we have this under control. Because as it stands, we don't even want to talk about flammable, right?
Yes.
So we don't even want to talk about that. So we're asking the entire Lambo community to please, the fishing committee, let's hold up and let's work together to see how best we could build back the fishing industry, the marine industry, and build back Tobago together, because this need not a single effort, but a collaborated effort by each citizen of Tobago right now.
Now, as I mentioned before, a few of those Lambo fishermen are actually part of the efforts to lay the oil booms and that sort of thing. You know, what is their feelings at this point in time about the effort so far and just being involved?
Well, I must say, when I call upon them, they respond immediately. Can I say, I'm telling you, if I call these guys 9, 10 o'clock in the night, 12 o'clock in the night, they are out. They are out. I think it's because they understand what we have been faced with. This is their livelihood. They apply the trade through here, and through the sea and the marine life is where we have they mind their family. And I'm saying, right now I have 5 boats, and I have 15 to 20 boats stand by, just waiting to say the word. Every day we go on the port, we have 5 boats pumping. I have standby in the event of emergency. I have boat for emergency. I have boat to show them the coast. And these guys are real doctors in their field. These guys are going behind some swells, in some holes to sort out the pockets of where the oils are. I mean, I kudos to the fisher folk and all those fishermen and women that are involved in the cleanup campaign. Their spirits are high, you know, and they are learning. They are not only participating, they are learning different methodology in how to handle and to treat it situation like what is happening now. So big up to the Lambo fisher folk, Miss Ramkisoon and Cowie and all of them, you know, Krishna, you know, all of them, Mr. Kwashi, George Alexander, you know, Kraken, Alan Mohammed, you know, all of them, because is a mixture of fisher folk. But the majority of help come from the Lambo Scarborough and within the Plymouth area. These are the guys that came out to ensure that they protect our interests in this situation. And I must say kudos to them.
And so yesterday we heard the news that we know that the vessel was being towed. We know the name of that vessel and so on. And we know that it was lost about 11 days ago. And what was your reaction when you heard that news?
Well, you know, in times like this, is when you see true colors. Why I'm saying this? Because I am part of a team, right? A Trinidad and Tobago team. And I find we share. When in these times they have no separation, we need to share. So when I'm here in the conference and I'm saying, well, you know, the chief secretary is knowing of something or information of that nature through a media. And when we sit in these meetings, we share whatever information because we see the need for a collaborative effort, right? And to not share, I find it's not nice because this is Trinidad and Tobago. Whether we like it or not, it is one country, right? Just at Tobago, separated with Trinidad, separated with Ireland. But it's Trinidad and Tobago, and we are at a crisis, Candice. We are at a level of a national disaster, right? And when I'm seeing the chief secretary sharing information with everyone, I expect the same from the central government to share so that we all could be on the same page, because we need to work together to ensure we not only safeguard, but the culprit that is causing this havoc to the Caribbean must pay. They must pay. So I was astonished because I thought we were working as a team. So when I heard it from the chief secretary that, you know, he would have got this information from, you know, a media conference, right? I was really, really, really shocked. I was really shocked because I thought we was in a place whereby we were working together to achieve one goal together. So, you know, I was surprised. And more so, I must say, you know, my fishermen haven't detected or seen anybody no life raft, right? Or nobody called for make any SOS calls. And I'm saying my fishermen is be all over.
And you all are also connected with the regional partners, the Caribbean and so on.
We are connected with the regional, and we haven't got any information, any SOS, any calls, because normally when something go wrong, big or small, they call us, they call Mr. Douglas, they call Mr. Quashie, they call Mr. Cooper, they call us so that we connect. Because it is important to work as a team. We connect, and we say, okay, I'm going to send a boat out 50 miles southwest to ensure, you know, that person or whoever retrieve it. And with this vessel, we haven't heard or seen anyone. So the solo boat, right? It must, if it's not went into a port, where it is, did it sink along with the vessel? Where these pieces need to be put together so that we could have closure on this. So it is quite troubling from where I sit, right? And from where the fisher folk stance is, that the vessel, the pilot boat, which the boat was pulling it, where is it? Where is there's no sign of life form or anything missing. So how many people, any life loss? All of these questions are unanswered questions that I think need to be answered, and the people of Tobago need to know and to have closure on these type of information, especially when it deals with our livelihood in Tobago.
Do you think that central government knows more than it is letting on?
Well, I don't know what is central government intel, but what I could see displayed with the intel, they seem to send out the intel in small portions. And as I said, if central government knows any intel, they have a right to share with the chief secretary and the team that is on the ground so that we can be able to put the pieces of this puzzle together for the best interest of working together as Trinidad and Tobagonians together to ensure that we achieve that goal.
And of course, we know that this impact is far-reaching, and it's by the day the cost is going up.
Yeah, well, every day the cost is going up, and the cost is going up by a great margin. Candice, this make no mistake. Listen, thank God we had some booms to Kaizen here presently. Thank God they were storing those booms in Armando's, and the chief secretary would have met with Tima, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Lane and they would have been able to retrieve, get those booms, and so that we can be able, I tell you, after 10, 11 in the night, we were laying these booms. That calls for immediate response, and I must say kudos to them. So, I mean, I can't stress the need, right, to work together. If every Tobagoans come out together and work together, because we will need more volunteers to come out, right? The Chief Secretary will be able to treat it that, to ensure that we clean back this island, and bring it back to spick span. Already it is started, because you can see the signs from Scarborough's and different little beaches, but you have some pockets that we still have to do. But clearly too, we want to, the All Tobago Fisher Folk will be also doing a island-wide assessment. So we want to make sure and clear that throughout the island of Tobago, under the guidance of the Chief Secretary and TEMA, is clean. And those are some of the topic that was raised, to ensure the entire island is clean and it is certified at the international level, so that we could be, continue to say we are the greatest little island on the planet. So, I mean, but I must say, it needs a team effort, and it needs information sharing between the government and the assembly, which is the assembly that is leading this. And I must say to all of the companies that are on the island, Tiger Tanks, everybody that are here that is making, and I must also say kudos to the ferry that is assisting in every way to ensure. And I cannot leave out the Coast Guard. Normally, I'm not the Coast Guard for not working and stuff like that. I must say kudos to the Coast Guard, right? And the captain, she's making things happen for us. I must say kudos, because even going out on the site, the Chief Secretary would go on the Coast Guard boat to ensure, apart from the pirogues and stuff like that. So I must say kudos to the Coast Guard. And I do not want to leave out anyone that is working assiduously to ensure that we bring back Tobago to the state. So but in the sense of information sharing, I think from the response I'm getting, I think the Chief Secretary and the team interest right now, our main purpose is to ensure, one, we have Tobago under a more fingerprint controlled. It is under control, but more control, so that we say right and left, which is happening. And you would see more development with more changes, more trucks coming in, and vacuuming and all some of these things. You would see it already happening, but at a more greater level. And I'm advising not only fisher folk, but some of the pedestrian who is traveling, when you see the cones that they are current of, is for our safety. So let's work together. To see how best we could achieve this goal. All right.
I want to thank you so much, Mr. Douglas, for giving your perspective, your very insightful perspective on this situation, as we really do try to get it under control. So viewers, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this break.
You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Girl, you know what you're doing. Big waist with the eye contact. Girl, look up. Look up. Look up. Look up. Look up.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, now we are switching our conversations to a survey that was done on the THA, on the performance of the THA administration by CivilNet. So, of course, we are being joined by none other than Mr. Rodney Piggott, who is the chairman of Tobago CivilNet. So, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candace, and good morning to Tobago Updates, listening audience worldwide.
All right, so first of all, before we get into the actual survey results, just give the viewers a little idea of what was the survey all about and why.
All right. It's important to understand that this is a survey that was conducted by both Tobago CivilNet and the Tobago Council of Elders. So it was a joint effort, collaborative effort. And of course, we sought the guidance of the elders in matters like this. Because as one of the elders stated, there has been nothing in the Tobago space of this nature. And they agreed that it is something that civil society should take up. Because not only our responsibility to vote, every 4 years is what we as civil society should be paying attention to and say that, okay, we've contributed to the democracy of Tobago by voting. What they see is that this is an everyday, responsibility of civil society. Mm-hmm. That if we are to ensure good governance, then we in civil society must take a day-to-day, approach to that. So it's not every 4 years you put your finger, you vote, and then you go back to sleep and say, okay, I've done my duty. No, it doesn't stop there. We have a responsibility to Tobago. And, we are the ones that actually keep our governance structure in check by raising our voices. When we see something is not going the way it ought to be going, we raise our voices, we point it out. The mechanisms are not there yet, in terms of oversight, but civil society is there. We're the ones that vote. So whether or not we have an oversight committee in place or not, as civil society, we must function as that oversight body to our governance structure.
So you had the survey available online, and of course, I think there was a paper form as well if people wanted to fill out. How much participation did we get in it?
We got very good participation. Last year, we had about 315 people that participated, and this year we got 300. So that was very good in our estimate for persons that actually took the time to actually, state their opinion, their perception, what they thought, and so forth. Again, we must remind ourselves that this is something that there's no precedent to it. So it's not something that we have been doing for years and years and years and years. So it's going to take some time for civil society, the average person, to get accustomed to being asked their opinion, their perception. Well, how did you think our government performed last year? How do you think the divisions performed, and so forth? What do you think about the assemblymen, and so forth? How do they respond to the people? These kind of questions are not questions that have normally been asked down through the years.
Yes.
So now it's going to take some time for people to get accustomed to that. All right? And we expect it to happen because even before the survey results were out, and even before the survey was actually launched, I was getting requests from people, well, when is the survey? And when is the results coming out? So there are people out there who are already perched and are anticipating this type of activity. And so we're looking forward to that growing, where civil society sees this as a tool that they can use, not a punitive tool against the governance structure. It's very important that we stress that. This is not a punitive tool. This is a tool whereby our governance structure can get that kind of feedback from the public, good, bad, or indifferent, as to how they're performing, and use that kind of response to sharpen themselves, deliver better services to the people. So it's not a punitive tool. There's no right of recall or anything of that nature the people has. Based on a survey, there's nothing we could do to our governance structure. And said, okay, we voted very poor, so therefore you're out. We can't do that. But they could receive that information, listen to that information and say, okay, perhaps I could do better in this particular area. That's really the crux of it.
Yes, and then getting into some of the results of the survey. Now, we see here that just about 34% of the respondents rated the THA performance as positive, which means that there's quite a bit, about a 46% thereabouts, that it was negative. And, what were some of the analytics behind those statistics?
Well, it's important to see that even though it's 46% negative, last year it was about 51 to 56% negative, and only about 20 to 22% was positive last year. So this year it has increased in the positive perception, and it has decreased in the negative perception. So it's going in the right direction. It's going in the direction that we, the people, want it to go in. Because we must emphasize again that we want the governance structure to succeed. It doesn't matter who is in office.
Yes.
We want them to succeed. Why? We hired them. No employer hires an employee and then talks bad about them behind their back or want them to fail, because if I hire you and I want you to fail, that means my business is going to fail. It makes absolutely no sense. And so one of the things we want to do is to help civil society see itself in the driver's seat. You are the employer, they are the employees. And so therefore, when you rate them, it's not a punitive action. It's not that we want them to fail. We don't want to talk bad about them. We want to encourage them to do better. Why? Because if they do better, Tobago does better. That's the bottom line.
And then one of the concerns that was highlighted in the survey is that of the accessibility to assemblymen, their transparency, their administrative leadership and accountability, adhering to their mandate. That there was a general, the response was very poor, right? That was the rating there. What does that mean to you when you saw that?
Well, in those areas, the people are talking back, and what the people are saying, there were several areas in which the people saw, and I think you have it there, where the people saw that the performance was very poor. They rated it very poor, all right? And what the people are saying in that area is that, especially when it comes to the assemblymen and the way they relate to the public, what the people are saying there is that we're not pleased with the way you relate to the public, right? So even though they're saying very poor, below average, right? What they're really saying is we're not pleased. Now, some of the respondents will shout, I'm not pleased. That's a very poor. You see, some may speak in a softer tone, poor. And some may speak in an even softer tone, below average. They're all the same. I'm not pleased, right? So that is what the assemblyman should hear, right? Not the fact that I'm saying very poor, but the fact that I'm saying I'm not pleased. And therefore, if you hear I'm not pleased, then what that says to you is, or what you should respond to that as is, how can I improve myself? What is it that they're not pleased about? Let me check myself. Do I find myself coming off arrogant to some of the people? As far as accessibility is concerned, right? Am I returning calls, right? Are people calling and leaving messages and it's taken me days to get back to them, and so forth and so forth? Those are the things that you want to do with that kind of information. Not just look at the rating and scoff at it, but look at the rating and try to put yourself in the shoes of the actual civil society, the citizens themselves, the residents in Tobago themselves. Try to put yourselves in their shoes. And if you, as an individual, try to reach your assemblyman and you're not able to get through, right? You call them on Monday, and maybe by Thursday someone gets back to you. You know, you're not going to be happy about that. And so if you have a chance now to share your opinion on what you think about the accessibility to your assemblyman, that person is going to say,
look at the interviews and so on.
Poor, very poor. And if you have a number of persons who had that experience, then you're going to get the kind of rating that you see here.
And just to get into some of even the comments that came forward from the survey, there were comments such as, you know, the need for better oversight of the THA executive to improve good governance. So obviously the reform of the THA Act and, well, ultimately autonomy. And of course, that's not an easy fix. And we know what's going on where that is concerned. But that aside, you know, there's a lack of time for improvements to be felt since the new government was put into place. And I kind of want to stop here about this concern because, you know, when they first came into office, there was a general feeling they're new, they're very new, just let them get their feet wet and so on. But we're more than 2 years in, and this concern still lingers.
Yeah, more than 2 years in, but in reality, 2 years in is still not a very long time. And now, if you were on your second administration, right, you got put back into office, so you had 4 years in, and now you're going back in again, you have another 4 years. Well, let's add another 4 years onto that. Let's say, 16 years in, right? You can no longer say, hey, I just got here, give me some time. 2 years in for an administration that has never been in before, particularly a young administration, right? They're going to take some getting used to, to driving that vehicle. That's a mammoth vehicle to drive, and it's going to take some time to get used to that. But there are some things that you do when you are new in an environment. If you go on a job and you are brand new in that office space, you're going there with a bit of humility. You don't go in there with your chest stuck out, I run this place and da-da-da-da-da. You're going with a bit of humility. You try to find the persons who have been in that space for a while, who knows what's going on and so forth. Try to feel out who's there and maybe get some guidance, some advice, take some advice from some persons who are doing well in that space and who have some good advice to offer you. So you don't just go in there and think, okay, I got this. You go in there with a sense of humility and look for guidance. And so when you do that, then you are ensured that you're not just going in there and winging it or looking to now learn the hard way. You can now stand on the shoulders of those who have been there before, those who know how it works. You can stand on their shoulders and avoid some of the pitfalls that they may have fallen into when they first started off. So that's what a person does when they are new in a particular position. What the administration must now ask itself is that how I went into office, right? Because if I didn't go into office like that and, and seek the advice of those who perhaps, have been in this space for a while, they know more than I know, and that's publicly seen. The people see that. They see that this young administration has taken post, and they're looking to others to sort of help guide and fill in where they may not know certain things. When the public sees that now, they may tend to have a different response to your administration than if you just go in there and try to wing it on your own. You may find then that the criticisms may be more harsh towards you now because of how you took office. I'm not saying that that's how the administration did it, but these are the questions that results such as this must now stimulate in the minds of the administration. So not just the results, but look at what the results are really saying. What are the people really saying in those shouts that they're saying very poor and poor? What are they really, really saying to me?
And then just, as we're getting ready to wrap up, just to go through even some more of the comments that were coming forth from the survey was that of the job contract situation that many THA employees experience, where they cannot get a permanent, secure position was one. The sense that there's a lot of vindictiveness in the THA, and the political climate, it's not so conducive at this point in time. There's poor function in public services, lack of opportunities for youth, calls for immediate change, and a hope for better governance and improvement with the community involvement.
And those are great comments. I mean, we had about 102 comments, and these were sort of condensed. Our technocrats use artificial intelligence. So yes, they're trying to really, step up the game there, to really condense a lot of that information. And what you're actually reading there is absolutely correct. People are saying and have said in their commentary that there is an air of vindictiveness. This is what they're picking up. And this could be simply based on how you do things. Not that you've done things, but how you've done those things. So if you go into an office and you see that there are 3 people doing the same job, and in your zeal to fix things, you want to now streamline how that office functions. So maybe 2 people have to go. There's perhaps a way to do that that does not indicate to people that it's done with vindictiveness. And this is where I think one of our past presidents talked about compassion, and that we have to bring back that compassion into how we relate to each other, right? Especially from the governance structure to the people that have hired them to govern their business, right? There has to be that compassion. So if I have to let you go, if I do that with such compassion that the people see and they understand that this is something that had to be done, and they're not doing it, in a way that suggests, that it's being done for any other reason other than the fact that it needs to be done, then the response of the people towards something of that nature may be a little bit different. If that's not done, you may then get comments such as there's vindictiveness in the workplace. So again, the comments, the ratings, as harsh as they may be, as loud as they may be, they're simply saying, listen to me, right? I'm speaking to you, the people that are governing us, and I'm trying to get your attention. So how you interpret this data now is crucial to you. It's much like a child. When a child is acting out, a parent now must look at how they're acting out and say, this is a cry for help. Something is wrong somewhere. Maybe something is going on in their schooling. Maybe they're being bullied. Something is happening. Let me not just react to the fact that they are acting out and they're throwing things and throwing tantrums. Let me try to find out what went wrong and why they're throwing these tantrums, and then fix that. You see? And so that's where we are at this point.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Pigott, for being on with us and for sharing these insights into the survey. And hopefully our authorities can, just take a few little nuggets from this. All right. Thank you so much. And viewers, please don't go anywhere because we have a lot more coming up for you on the program.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
We party till we drop down there with a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Yo everyone, it's your boy Harry here from Authentic Builders General Hardware, located right here in Tobago Local Road, Tobago. That's correct, right here in Tobago. And we are offering you guys the best prices on all hardware material. And if you would like to get your free quotation done, all you have to do is WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will give you guys the best prices on all hardware material. That is a guarantee as we are matching or beating any quotations.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, and we are switching our conversations again and we're going towards Carnival because Carnival just wrapped up. But in Tobago, we had Arcadia Mass coming out as a band of the year for Tobago. So we are being joined by Mr. Kenorian Smith, and he is the band leader of Arcadia Mass Band. So good morning and welcome to you.
Hi, good morning. It's Miss Kenorian, not Mr.
My apologies. All right. Now, give me an idea of how was the carnival for you? I know there was a lot of, there was just a lot of rough waters getting into carnival itself, a lot of controversies. But at the end of the day, how did it turn out?
Really and truly, it was about the kids. This year, we planned on just putting most of our focus on the experience with it being our debut year. So speaking for my kids, they had a great time. They thoroughly enjoyed their road experience with Uncle Wacky. They, after their parade, went back to a rest stop where they had, bouncy castles, go-karts, cotton candy, and so much more. So it was definitely a fun-filled day. They were a bit disappointed that it was only 2 days, but I mean, what masquerader isn't, right?
Yes. Of course, I mean, you can control all of the things. And, I know a lot of the band leaders were not entirely happy with some of the decisions made. They had hoped that in spite of what was happening in Scarborough on the waterfront, that there could have been changes that we could have still had some of the children's mass.
They were still able to experience a bit of Scarborough for Monday for traditional mass because our portrayal was Fancy Sailor. So we were able to participate on Monday. So my kids did get the experience of playing in Scarborough as well.
Mm-hmm. And for this win, what does this win mean for you, the band of the year?
It really means a lot, especially on our debut year. But I'm most thrilled because it's not only a win for us, it's a win for the competition, it's a win for the kids because it's just one of those catalysts that, for me, would help corporate take us as an entity seriously, and with that we can bring a bit more resources into the space to help bring up the quality of the product for the kids and even just help foster healthy competition.
Tell me about the growth of Arcadia Mass over the years.
Over the years, well, our first year we did Adults Carnival, but as time progressed, we wanted to take a step back to just observe a little bit and we ourselves just gain more experience. So we took last year and we did not participate in Tobago Carnival, unfortunately, but we instead went out internationally. We went to Miami and we just garnered some more experience, made some more connections that we can come back and apply these things that we learned to our carnival to help push it forward.
Mm-hmm. And where do you see Mass going for the National Carnival?
For the National Carnival, I feel like it's really up to us to help, bring the private sector and get the private sector involved, because the public sector cannot do it by ourselves. So we as band leaders, we have a duty to put out a product and also, just leave little openings that the corporate world could come in and tap into, because for the corporate world, they don't get anything from you just putting a costume on stage. It needs to be so much more than that. You need to help build an experience that they can be a part of and that your kids can enjoy even more too. So for me, my focus is about bringing those entities in.
Mm-hmm. And what are you looking forward to, either with October Carnival coming up later this year and even looking ahead to 2025?
2025, my kids are definitely ready for the road. I had a lot of ideas and stuff that I wanted to execute this year that, I was unable to because of the uncertainty. But I will definitely be doing that next year, up in the ante on our presentation, up in the ante on our road experience for the kids, as well as we have something really unique coming for our older kids, like, high schoolers for October Carnival, and just to help usher them into the world of carnival and, for them to understand the business side of things, what goes into production, what goes into designing, what goes into a construction of a costume. So I'm really excited and I'm really looking forward to partnering with Carney Cycle on this project. So, stay tuned. There's a lot of unique ideas to come out from Arcadia. We also have a food festival coming up really, really soon. It's really Mass 365 for us at this point.
Great. And then, as we just do a little bit of a, just a look at the way things unfolded this year, what would you like the Tobago Festivals Commission to know and to, focus on so that 2025 could come off better and with less uncertainty?
I believe just more conversation is necessary with all stakeholders involved. And when I say conversation, I don't mean someone talking and someone listening. I mean the conversation going both ways. So the band leaders share their concern, the assembly, the festivals commission, they share their concern, and each side being able to be able to listen and compromise so we can move forward in a way that makes sense for everyone involved, especially the kids.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on with us and for giving us perspective on Arcadia Mass. And of course, congratulations going out to you, because I know it was a whole lot of hard work that went in to producing that mass. And it was quite beautiful out there on the streets for Carnival.
Thank you so much. We look forward to bringing much more to you guys next year. We are definitely going to set the tune next year.
Certainly, and we are looking forward to seeing it. And viewers, well, that's how we're going to have to wrap the show this morning. I want to thank you so much for being on with us. And please stay tuned to Tobago Updates, our social media pages, and even on the channel 102 on Amplia, so you can stay connected with all the developments that's happening within our space. So hope you have a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you again tomorrow.
So wake up and hear me neighbor, 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never